Hello children, in today's class we are going to discuss about fertilization, types of fertilization and development of embryo. So let me start today's class with a definition of fertilization. Fertilization is a process of fusion of the sperm and the ovum. You all are aware that the sperms are released by the testes, which are also called as male reproductive cells or male gametes. In the similar manner, the eggs or ova are produced by ovaries in females, and when the sperm happens to meet with the egg, they both fuse with each other. That process is called fertilization, and as a result of fertilization, a new cell is formed, which is called as zygote or fertilized egg. As the sperms unite with there are many sperms that try to fertilize the single ovum, but only one sperm happens to enter into the egg cell or ovum, and the nucleus of the sperm and the nucleus of the egg will fuse and zygote is formed. So zygote is the result of fertilization, which is having a single nucleus. I repeat once again. During fertilization, the nuclei of the sperm and the ovum fuse together to form a single nucleus. As the diagram is showing here, the sperm released by the male and ovum released by the female unite to form a new cell. That new cell is called fertilized egg or zygote. So the formation of the zygote is the beginning of a new individual. So all of us have started our life in the mother's womb by the zygote itself. So fertilization can be of mainly two types. One is called internal fertilization, another is called external fertilization. Internal fertilization takes place inside the female body. That means the male partner releases the sperms into the female body, and in the female body, when the ovary releases the ovum, that ovum will meet the sperm in the oviduct. So fertilization takes place in the oviduct of the female reproductive system. There the sperm unites with the egg, that is unfertilized egg or ovum. As a result of that, zygote is formed. So this kind of fertilization that takes place inside the female body is called internal fertilization. Internal fertilization takes place in human beings, that means all the mammals. What do you mean by mammals? Mammals are those vertebrates which give birth to the young ones. They don't lay eggs directly, they give birth to the young ones. Such kind of vertebrates means the animals having backbone. That kind of or that class of vertebrates are called as mammals. And these mammals, another special characteristic is that the mother helps in feeding the baby. That is, the young one sucks the milk from the mother's breast. So this group of organisms, we call them as mammals. All the mammals, they have what kind of fertilization? They perform internal fertilization. Even in snakes, birds. Snakes belong to the category of reptiles. Birds, you are aware, or in these organisms internal fertilization takes place. So in some cases you must have seen the animals living in water, such as fish and frog. The males will release the sperms into the water. So that releasing of sperms and releasing of eggs into the water by the organisms, we call it as spawning. In this case, The fertilization takes place in the water, not in any of the individual. This kind of fertilization, we call it as external fertilization. The type of fertilization in which the fusion of sperm and ovum occurs outside the female body. Mostly it takes place in water. This kind of fertilization we call external. As the name itself says, it is external. It is outside the body of the organisms. For example, fish, frog, starfish, sea anemone, all of these organisms live in water. So releasing of the sperms and eggs into the water, we call it as spawning. Spawning. Hundreds of eggs are produced by the female frog at a time. Similarly, sperms are also released in more in number. Only few of them will get fertilized. Remaining, due to external agencies, many of the eggs and sperms will be damaged or eaten by other microorganisms. Very few of them will get fertilized, and that fertilized ones will develop into new individuals or new organisms. And most of the times you must have seen in the water, standing water, stagnant water, the eggs are covered by a delicate covering, jelly-like covering, in order to protect them from the external agencies or other organisms. So you can say after spawning, what takes place is called fertilization. That fertilization is called as external fertilization. Other than that internal and external fertilization, we have another kind of fertilization which is not natural. It is artificial means of fertilization done in the done in the laboratories. In vitro fertilization. Sometimes due to some health problems inside the female body, especially in human beings, what happens? Their fertilization doesn't take place. Even the sperms reach to the female reproductive system, fertilization does not occur. In that case, in vitro fertilization, IVF, we call it in medical term, it is called in vitro fertilization takes place, where the egg from the female body and sperms from the male body are collected outside in a test tube. In a test tube, the sperms and eggs happen to fertilize. So that inside the test tube, what will take place is fertilization. Once the zygote is formed, that zygote is made to develop further into next stage, we call it as embryo. So once the embryo is formed, that embryo will be transplanted into the female uterus of the same woman, or it can be in other woman's body also. This kind of fertilization is called as in vitro fertilization. In short form, we call it as IVF. Clear? So we will continue the next part, that is how does the embryo develop in human uterus, that is in female body. How does the development of zygote embryo take place? You can see the diagram given here. The first cell, you can see in the first diagram, a single cell is formed here, that is fertilized egg. It is a union of sperm nuclei and egg nucleus. Sperm nucleus and egg nucleus has united to form the new nucleus in the fertilized egg, or we call it as zygote. That zygote will undergo cell division. One single cell will multiply to form two cells. So second stage has how many cells here? Two cells. Two cells further undergo cell division. Then it forms 4 cell stage. 4 develops into 8 cell. 8 develops into next, after multiplying, 16. In that way, a ball of mass of cells will be formed. That is called as blastocyst, or we can call it as embryo. It is called as embryo. So after fertilization, the zygote multiplies repeatedly to form a ball of mass of cells. We call that as embryo. So embryo is a group of cells or mass of cells which has which has to undergo further division or further development will take place by the embryo for a complete new individual to form. This developing structure for the first 8 weeks, that is only called as embryo. So in the embryo formation takes place in the first 8 weeks. That embryo will get embedded or get transplanted or get involved in the wall of the uterus. You have learned in the female reproductive system what is uterus. Uterus is a muscular bag-like structure where the development of embryo take place. So the embryo develops into a complete offspring, or a new baby is formed in the mother's womb in uterus. So you can see the next stage has been shown here. Fetus, 4 weeks, 10 weeks, 16 weeks, 20 weeks. Like that, the development take place inside the mother's womb. The different stages has been shown here. So during the development, the different group of cells change their size and shape and turn into particular type of cells performing specific functions, such as muscle cells, nerve cells, blood cells, etc. These cells again group to form tissues. Tissues will group to form organs. Organs will group to form organ systems. So in that way, we can see the development of the embryo take place in the mother's body or mother's uterus. So this differentiation of cells is called cell differentiation or cell maturation. So cell differentiation and cell maturation helps in the formation of different tissues and different organs. Gradually, the different parts of the body can be seen. Different organs of the body can be seen. That stage is called as fetus. F-O-E-T-U-S. Fetus is a stage of development where the different organs or body parts can be differentiated. So that stage is called as fetus. In humans, the stage is reached after about 8 weeks of fertilization. You can see here 4 weeks, 10 weeks. This stage we can say fetus is somewhat we are able to see the different organs or parts. So once again I repeat, fertilized egg develops into 2 cells, 2 to 4, 4 to 8, 8 to 16. Then again blastocyst, that is embryo development. So this all happens, and 4 weeks we can see here 4 to 10 weeks the development of embryo can be, or development of fetus can be seen. Ultimately, the complete development of fetus takes place in the mother's embryo for about 9 months. That is total gestation period. We call it as gestation period. Gestation. Gestation period means the development of zygote to complete individual. It is around 9 months, 1 week in human beings. Different animals have different gestation period. So in that way we have covered the types of fertilization and embryonic development in humans today. Today we will wind up here, children. In the next class we will learn about different types of animals on the basis of reproduction. So okay, thank you. Have a nice day.